Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about Silkypix, in this case 9, but this should also apply to earlier versions, and specifically their standard color and the colors of the skies you sometimes get, which to me sometimes kind of get a little bit green or cyan, a little bit more than what's pleasing. Now, there's a couple ways you can fix this. One of them is you could go into the white balance and try to add maybe a little bit more um, red or magenta, maybe add a little bit more yellow. Sometimes, like in this image, though, it tends to make the clouds a little bit pinkish or purplish. So I'm just going to reset that. This is actually a photo of a turkey vulture that I took, and it's just a snapshot, but it kind of shows you what the issues with the skies are. I'll show you the same image. Actually, I'm going to just up the exposure a little bit so that it's not as dark, but I'll show you the same image passed through the Olympus raw converter, and that's this here. As you can see, the sky is, I think, a lot more pleasing, and I found this across cameras, Fuji, Panasonic, and Olympus. The standard color just doesn't really do much for me with skies. Now, one of the ways you can, just going to go back to the raw file, there's a couple different things you can do. Like I said, you can try to manipulate the color balance, but you sometimes get pink clouds when that happens, or weird color shifts. You can also choose some, if you have Fuji, you probably want to use the film simulation, and those can give very nice skies, especially Provia and the Velvia settings. If you have a Panasonic, you probably want to use the Panasonic photo styles, which mimic the Panasonic colors that are in camera. If you're unfortunate enough to have a camera that isn't a Panasonic or Fuji, though, one of the things you can do is you can pick, I like Fine Color V1 for kind of nature scenes. Gives nice blues, nice greens. It's not as saturated. V2, I think, sometimes goes a little bit over the top. There you go. But some people might like that. I also like the film color P or the film color K for skies. I find actually that the memory colors, for some reason, seem to make things worse and kind of push things even more green or even more cyan than what I would expect. But there are reasons why you might want to use a standard color. And I found that standard color tends to give you the biggest amount of latitude in manipulating the raw files. So there's more room in the highlights, more room in the shadows than some of the other colors there. So in that case, what I would do is go into Fine Color Controller, and I found numbers, at least with Olympus, which is my biggest pet peeve. I found hue adding about 5, adding saturation maybe about 10, and then taking the lightness down just a little bit. Gives me, I might even move that hue over a little bit more. Gives me values that are very similar when we adjust to what I would have expected the Olympus to give me. Here's the JPEG from Olympus. There is my version, which is actually probably maybe a little too dark. This one I might go up a little bit more. But the sky is a lot more pleasant looking. I still have the latitude of the standard color, and I have these all saved as presets. I have a couple different skies actually saved, depending on what I'm trying to do. That's my solution. If you have questions, or if you have comments, or if you have discovered another way to get pleasing skies out of Silkypix, please feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to subscribe, and and or like me on Facebook. Thanks.